Oh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our, ready, what we're trying to set tonight. Our AA'zortunity Night. Oh, I like it. What's an AA'zortunity Night? See, generally we've called tonight our Oz Night. And Oz stands for Allies, Advocates, and Associates. And that is exactly what it means, right? Allies are the people in our life who are here because we want them to learn more so that they can better understand and support what we're doing. Because if you understand what someone's doing, you can be incredibly more supportive about it than if you have no idea. Fair? An advocate is someone who's heard about what's going on in here, is really excited about it, and says, how can I support you any way possible? Who can I introduce you to? How can I be your greatest cheerleader? And then the associates are the folks who raise their hands and said, we want to actively participate in what's happening. And so it's our Allies, Advocates, and Associates Night. It's our open house. But recently, we decided that it was missing something. Because really, tonight is about an incredible opportunity. And whether you join that opportunity as an ally, an advocate, or an associate, it is one of the greatest opportunities in American history. And so we call it our AA'zortunity. It's a little hard to say, so we'll work on it a bit. But while we're here, let me introduce you to some of the folks in the room. We call this group of people Team Access, and you'll learn more and why as we sort of continue talking here tonight. And these are our places of access. You know, a lot of times as we talk, sort of folks think, well, that's kind of interesting, but I'm totally not that, or I don't really know anyone like that person. So I wanted to kind of introduce you to some of the folks in the room. First of all, we've got lots of roles in here. We have our part-timer, as we're now calling our Uber American, Dawn Ferrier and Bob Ferrier in the room right behind you. And the reason that hi everybody. Dawn is a fantastic teacher, loves what she does, but recognizes that there's something more that she wants to do in this world. There's something more that she needed for her family, and this was where she could find it. We have our business plan associate, who actually, this particular example, Tag, is not here tonight. That's Dawn's son. But Wendy is here. Wendy's another one of our business plan associates. And these are folks who really want to start a company. They're entrepreneurs. They know that down the road, they're going to be starting a company, and they come here and start a company with us to learn how to do it so they can then apply those skills to their passions down the road. Our gathering asset partner, Patty's an example of that. These are folks who said, I really want to be able to help out. I want to be able to help my family. There's lots of other things that I'm doing, and so I'm going to kind of be on the lookout. And as I find folks that we can gather assets from, I'm going to be the person to bring those folks around to get them that services. We have our brokerage associates, Cindy and Arson, for example, who really love the financial services that we provide that we're going to talk about tonight. Wade, who hasn't been able to join us tonight, but he's one of our expansion associates. He's planning to really take the message that we're delivering here tonight and bring it across the country. And then look, you're at it. Mom didn't know she was going to be part of the I'm also an advocate, and I think what's really important is a lot of times we think of the people on our team, only the people who work directly with us. That the people who support us, the people who provide us with introductions, the people who are our consummate cheerleaders are all part of the Faces of Access. And really, we thank those of you in the audience who are here tonight who are here as supporters, because you're really the most important part of what we're doing. So what is it that we do? Why are you guys here tonight? I always get the most exciting part of this evening to tell you about the massive crisis that's on our hands. And what is that crisis? See, here's the old reality. This is not surprising to many folks in the room. And this is like what your parents say back in the old days and your grandparents say back in the old days. See, and what's really fascinating is when we talk about this old reality, I often think of my grandparents, right? My grandparents who had one job basically their entire life, who had this great pension when they retired, who never worried about anything. And the most interesting thing that I found today is when I looked at these statistics, Social Security covering 65% of your income needs when you retire, and 46% of companies were offering pensions. So basically everybody was set. That filled in the gaps. 100% of health costs were covered by employers even after you retire. Men were expected to live 14 years past retirement age, and women 19 years, and on average there was only 2 job changes. You look at that and you think, oh yeah, that totally sounds like my grandparents. Those statistics are from the Social Security study in 1985. Not so long ago. And in a very short period of time, this is what the world looks like. We think that it's taken 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, but just very quickly, over a very short period of time, things have changed dramatically. Social Security covers 40% of income needs today, and only 7% of companies are offering pensions. In the next 5 years to 10 years, pensions are going to be completely gone, and there will be nothing to fill in the gap. Retirees are covering all of their healthcare costs after work. The moment you stop working, it's on you, and Medicare only covers a portion of it if you can even figure it out at all. Men are actually expected to live today 26 years on average past retirement age and 29 years for women. And on average, we have 11 to 13 job changes. And with those changes, our average salary per month has gone down $1,100. We are making less and having to take care of ourselves more. Bottom line is, retirement was covered for you. You knew you were going to be taken care of. And today, you have to take care of yourself. It's just the reality of the crisis in front of us. And the greatest challenge is we don't actually do something until it really hurts. Right? Like, how many of us go to the doctor for preventative reasons? Right? Like, I think that my blood pressure might be going up, so I'm going to go in for a checkup and I'm going to learn everything I need to do to get it down, and I'm going to do all of it perfectly. Right? Like, none of us actually do that until we actually have a heart attack, and then we're at the doctor's. And so the challenge, the greatest challenge that we're having here is that these folks are actually generally okay on a day-to-day basis while they're working, right? So we're living paycheck to paycheck. We're actually able to live, right? Got food on the table, roof over our heads, clothes on our bodies. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. I'm doing better than the guy across the street. But I don't know, I don't realize the crisis that I'm actually in until it's too late. Because the crisis, the real crisis we're talking about for most people, hits the day we stop working. And the only way we're going to make any change is if we actually get the word out. If someone told you in advance, 5 years from now, you're going to have a heart attack unless you do these 3 things, is there increased likelihood that you do those 3 things? If I tell you you're going to have a heart attack, instead of finding out the day you have a heart attack, you're probably more likely to take care of those 3 things. And that's really what tonight's about. We're all going to have a heart attack. We're all going to have a crisis on our hands at some point. It's guaranteed if we don't do something about it. And so the question really becomes, what can we do? So thank you all for coming tonight. Good luck with your lives. That would be terrible, right? This is what you brought me here for, God? Someone to tell me that I'm going to die? Well, we actually knew that, right? The question is, what are you going to do between now and then? And so we did. We came together and we said, okay, we really need a solution. And at the end of the day, it actually has to take 2 steps. The first step is that we had to try to provide access to financial security. See, one of the interesting things about this crisis and about when we look at 1985 versus 2017 is that if you think about our class structure, there are people at the top who make lots of money, who have lots of money, who get total financial freedom. right? Lots of access to lots of resources. We can all agree with that? Yeah. So here's what's interesting. Those people at the top are the same people at the top in 1985. See, lots changed for everybody in the middle, but nothing's changed for the people at the top. They still have access to the same amazing resources that they did before. And the truth of the matter is that this great country of ours, we as a society have agreed to take care of the people who are the least fortunate. And the government programs that were there in 1985 are still there or actually better today. And the temples and the churches that were there in 1985 are still there, or there are actually more of them today. And so the people at the top have stayed at the top, and the people at the bottom continue to be taken care of. And the crisis is growing in the middle, which is all of us, and our communities, and our families, and our friends. And when we looked at why that was happening, what the real difference is we realized it was access to that financial security. You can't do what you don't know. Great things to do in order to prevent that heart attack. How could you ever do that? And that's the first part of our solution. We had to find a partner to deliver the solution, or it was going to take too long for us to build the entire solution ourselves. And so we chose to partner with Primerica. How many people have heard of Primerica in this room? So a bunch of folks have heard of Primerica. Primerica, the face of Primerica has changed dramatically since its beginning. If you were in this room 30 years ago, this slide with all of these partners would have like 2 names on it. But what we realized is that in order to really attack this crisis, we had to pay attention to people's investments. We had to pay attention to people's savings. We had to pay attention to where we could help people with their money at every stage of their life. And we had to find the partners to be able to do it with them. And so if we look at the folks at the top as the example of what we want, if financial freedom is the ultimate goal, if financial security is where we start, we said, let's look at how the wealthy people think about money and what they do to create it. Makes sense, right? If you're in a class and someone's getting an A, you go up to the person and you're like, well, how exactly are you studying to get that A? That's exactly what we did. And when we took a step back, we recognized that there were 3 things that wealthy people were doing. The first thing is locking advances for our family. Grandpa makes sure that, God forbid something happens to Grandpa, the whole family is taken care of and never has to start over again. We establish habits to build on. The habit of saving, we know happens at the top. See, folks at the top make money, they save money, and they spend what's left. The rest of us make money, spend money, and we save what's left. And how much is left at the end of the month? Not very much. And finally, leveraging experts. And this is one of my favorites. See, a lot of times in the world, we are taught to get strength from being able to do it on our own. This idea that the American dream is about coming here and making it all by yourself. And yet when you talk to anyone who's quote unquote made it, they will name a minimum of 5 people who helped them get to where they're going. And so we took a step back and said, how do we offer these 3 steps to this group of folks who are in crisis? And we started out door to door. In 1977, Primerica was started, coaches and teachers going door to door to their friends, to their family, to their fellow coaches and teachers. But today, this is about a new time in our lives. This is about beyond the door to door, because we have to reach more people in a shorter period of time. The crisis is collapsing. When I looked up those statistics, I thought they were going to be in 1970, and they were in 1985, and it's only getting worse. And so the group of people in this room said, how do we make the bigger difference? And we realized that it was moving our message from door to door to business. So our edge is about financial wellness programs for corporations, businesses, and organizations. What we do is we go into these businesses and organizations and corporations and say, we will help your entire group of employees with their financial crisis. And we do this one of 3 ways. We have group education. where we provide workshops on a variety of financial topics. And we provide pizza, so everybody shows up. That's fabulous. And people get really picky. Our next wellness presentation, they were like, could you do Thai instead of pizza? So we have time for you coming. But the group education allows us to get general topics out there to a large group of people to raise the awareness, because we can't operate from what we don't know. We provide individual education. Every employee at a company that we work with has the opportunity to have a customized financial game plan from a representative for free. Can you imagine if your company or your school offered that to you? How cool would that be? And then this one my husband loves, and that's our ongoing education. How many of us in the past year or 2 years had something financial happen in our lives, good or bad? Right? Came into a cool check, got a bonus, hit the lottery on your tax return, lost your job, right? These things have happened to all of us. And who did you call? Think about it. Most people that we talk to say, I called my mom, I called my best friend, but very rarely do we hear, I called my financial representative. I called my financial coach. I called my financial expert to hear what the expert would recommend in that situation. And so the most important thing that we provide is every employee in the corporations, in the nonprofit organizations that we work with, are assigned a financial coach that they can call at any time for free, just to ask the questions. What is this about? What do I do? I got this statement in the mail and I have no idea how to read it. These are the ways that we really believe that we can make the greatest difference, because we can reach the greatest amount of people with the information that they need. And here's the best part. This is our favorite thing, right? Complimentary, customized, and confidential. All provided at the work site. Pretty cool, right? It's not just about recognizing the problem that we have. It's about saying, how do we actually engage in the solution? And we really want you to get a sense tonight of what that solution looks like. Because it's really going to take all of us to bring the solution to the people who need to hear it. So with that, I'm going to invite Sue Twidella to share with you a little bit about what some of our workshops look like.
I always have to look at this and decide which way everyone goes. But would you like to see a little bit of what we do when we go into some of the businesses, some of the finance, and some of the organizations, some of the schools, wherever we happen to be, what we do, what we teach a little bit?
Yes.
So let's do a little bit of that. Okay, one of the very first things that I like to do when I go in is I like to just get people started thinking. So I'm going to ask some questions that I normally ask all the employees, and I want you guys to answer them, but you can answer them to yourself, okay? Just to see if you know the answers. So the first one is, do you know your financial independence number? And every week I say this, I know there's some of you out here that are saying, okay, what is a financial independence number, right? What that is, excuse me, what that is the number, the amount of money that you need to have saved so that when you retire, you're free of not having to go back to work again. You're good. Kind of an important number to know, huh? Yes. How about this? What's my debt-free day? At what point am I not going to owe anybody anything? And no, the answer cannot be when the grass is growing up over my face. No. It's not allowed. Okay? What will it take to put my kids through college? How many of you have kids that aren't quite in college yet? Would you like to know what it's going to take to put them through college? Absolutely. Or how about this? What will it take to make sure my family is okay no matter what? How much life insurance does the family need? It's so interesting. When this question is asked, I was absolutely shocked. We get more response on this one than almost anything else. But these are four pretty simple questions to ask, yeah? Anybody can ask it. I mean, I could take Mark and you could turn around to your neighbor and ask those same questions, right? And just say the answers are important. Yeah. Well, if the questions are easy to ask and the answers are important, my question for you is, how come nobody's telling us the answers? How come nobody's helping us out? Because how many of you were ever asked these questions before? And how many of you ever had somebody sit down with you and actually take the answers? Doesn't happen. So this is part of what we want to do. So what we do is we come in and we offer different workshops. Our main one, our first one, almost always, is one called How Money Works. Do you think it'd be kind of a good idea to know how money works before you start trying to figure out how to save it?
Yes.
Absolutely. So we use that one. And then there's some other ones, and you see a lot of different ones here. One's about taking control, budgeting, things like that, because budget's not a dirty word. They learn that in there. Deferring taxes. Would you like to pay less taxes?
Yes.
That would be amazing. How about eliminating debt? Anybody want to eliminate debt?
Yes.
Okay, so this is some of the different workshops that we use for the employees. Now it's all nice and good and all of that I'm showing you this, right? But wouldn't it be better if I showed you exactly what we do? Maybe teach you a couple things that we actually teach? Would you like that? Okay, so let's go there. This is the rule of 72. What that is the main rule of money. Because if we don't know the rules of the game, it's kind of hard to win. Would you agree? Okay, so the rule of 72 says that if you take the number 72 and you divide it by whatever interest rate you're getting, it's going to tell you approximately how many years it takes that money to double. Kind of good to know. Because if your money doubles in 50 years and it could have doubled in 10 years, would you want to know? Absolutely. So let's see how this thing works. Let's just say I handed all of you $10,000. Pretty nice of you. And you decided, okay, I'm going to save it. This is going to be for retirement. I am not spending it right now. And one more thing, for any of you that are over 40 years old, all of you are in your 20s now. Okay. So we're all going back. All right, so we take that $10,000 and we go down to an amazing bank that's going to give us 3% rate of return. 72 divided by 3 is 24, which means in 24 years that money doubles, and at the end of 48 years we have $40,000. Okay, so our money, kind of good. What about at a 6% rate of return? It would double every 12 years, and we end up with 160. But what if we could have gotten a 12% rate of return? That meant it doubled every 6 years, and what do we end up with? Oh, wow, $2.5 million. Now here's the thing, it's the same amount of money all across the board, right? Same length of time. The only difference was what? The interest rate and a very different lifestyle. Now here's the challenge. If we've never heard this before, where are we putting our money? The bank. And the bank takes that money from right over here, and you know what they do with it? Invest it right over here. They give us back the 40,000, even maybe the 160. And they keep $2.5 million of what could have been our money. How does that make you feel? How come no one's teaching us this? What if the employees at all the different jobs never get this information? How is retirement looking if we never get this information? This is one of the things that we teach. Now this is all well and good, but a lot of times what happens is people go, okay, I get it, and I'm going to start. And I'm going to start next year. And then maybe 1 year turns into 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, right? But don't worry, I'm going to start. But let's see what happens here for just a minute. This is the time value of money as well. But I have two folks. I'm going to take you guys over here, and this is going to be on you on this side, okay? And I'm going to take you over here, and you're going to be on this other side. All right. So you are all aged, what does it say, 22? 22 years old. And you have decided, yeah, you have an amazing job, and you go, I am going to max out my Roth IRA every single year. Okay? $5,500 a year I'm going to put in. And you do that, and you do it all the way up to age 29. At which point you have a child. And you know, children are expensive, right? She said, you know, I cannot do this anymore. I'm going to have to stop. I'm not taking it out, so I'm going to run it all the way through to age 67. and I will have invested $44,000. Okay, your money. Let's talk about you guys over here. For the first 7 years, 5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Okay, you said, okay, I cannot do this right now. Things are just not working for me. Okay, and at age 29, you have another talk with yourself. You remember that talk that I had with you and say, I should have done it. Age 30, you start doing it. Start putting $5,500 away, and at age 67, you have now contributed $209,000. So now you can retire, right? But who has more money? Do you have more money? You contributed $209,000. Or do you have more money? You contributed $44,000. And this is not a trick question. So who has more? Oh, they're each pointing to each other, right? All right, well, let's find out. A lot of folks said this one, okay? This person has $1,870,000. Over here, how much do you guys have over here? Over $2 million. What happened? Well, what happened is this is the power of time. This is compounding. And because you started earlier, you had more periods of time, so you ended up with more money. That's how important it is to start right away, even if we're starting just very small. Okay? Now, last thing on this one, really quick. What I always love to point out is if this person had started and never stopped, add the two together, and would have had about $4 million. Could you retire with $4 million? Why is no one teaching us this? So this is what we do, and this is the very first part. This is the access to financial security. But Robin had also said that we offer a path to financial freedom. So what I like to do is I would like to invite Brett Sears up here to go over that portion with us right now.
Hello, how's everybody doing today? Good, how are you? Very, very good. You guys excited? Yeah. It's been an interesting couple days. So I got slides and I have a good chance of getting through most of them, and another chance that I might not at all. Because I'm sitting in the back. So I was sitting in the back of the room, and how many think like knowing how to not die broke sounds pretty good? Like, that's kind of an important thing, right? Mark's like, no. Right? So like this is, now did any of us really need to make the drive to walk up the stairs, to come and sit down, to learn, hey, you should probably save some money? Did any of us really need to come to a meeting to come to that realization? How many of us knew that way before we woke up this morning? That we should probably save some money. Now, how many of us have ever thought, like, I was thinking about, like, so everything we went over, and we all agree, is pretty important when it comes to our future, right or wrong? Right. Now, when we listen to this, how many think it's easy for some of us to potentially get intimidated by a conversation like this? See, at 22 years old, I walked into a room like this. I was 22 years old with $24,000 of credit card debt. The only thing I knew about money is I didn't have it. I'll be honest with you, they put me up against the wall, they turned the lights off, there was loud music, and they started going over money and the Rule 72 and insurance and investments. And for most of it, I had no idea what they were talking about. But everyone seemed really excited, so it must be good. And I realized that it's really easy to get intimidated and to start getting into a conversation that you don't understand. And one of two things, right? Normally what we do is we either, right, it's this fight or flight mentality. We either like dial in or we're like, yep, I'm gonna pay attention. How many of you are that person? What's the other alternative? Ooh, what happened? And it's that easy. See, the reality is, a lot of times we like to stand in front of a room like this and say this information's never been provided to people. And lots of times the opportunities have been presented, but it's been done in a way that most of us shut off, we shut down, we don't think it's for us, we don't think it's pertinent, we don't think it's something at that time, we'll worry about it later. And so valuable information just kind of flies through our fingers. And so one of the reasons we do what we do, the way we take this approach is we said, man, we have to get this message in front of people on a consistent basis. Right? My wife's in, works in the startup community, and I'm a tech head, like I love all this stuff. And the word in software and stuff like that is disrupt. You're supposed to find an industry and disrupt it, right? You're supposed to go in and do something. And there's all these people talking about trying to disrupt the financial services. They're coming up with cool apps to buy insurance or to invest or to do all this other stuff. And the tools they're building are phenomenal. There's only one small problem. The problem is we have to use that stuff. And most of us put off the things we're not comfortable with, right or wrong. Right? How many of you realize it's September 1st tomorrow? I want you to think about your New Year's resolution. I want you to think about the commitments you made to yourself in January. We're 2/3 of the way there. How's that, Dad? How's that savings plan? How's the list of things? Now, some of them are checked off. Here's what I found. There's certain things in our life. If it shows up and is confronted in front of us and we're forced to talk about it, we'll deal with it. And if not, we won't. See, when we look at why we did what we did, when we looked at the foundation and the approach, we're going to talk about this bonus and why this is we said, man, we have to make sure that we get in front of people and we tell this story often enough to where it can resonate, where they can hear it. Because if we don't facilitate change in somebody's life, it's never going to change. And so we look back and said, man, that's the simple, easiest way to do it. But we also looked at the world and said, oh my gosh, there's some significant things that have changed, right? Right now, Rob talked a little bit about dual income, right? There's the side jobs, there's the on-demand for Uber, Lyft, Airbnb, Amazon, right? There's all of these things that the world has completely changed. The expectations are there, right? They call it the gig economy. See, the reality, guys, it's not a question, are people doing something extra? Is that extra doing what it needs to for them? See, I've been here 23 years. When I got started, as I said, I was 22. And I was kind of a weird guy, at least to people. They break, you're doing the thing on the side. Aren't you supposed to go get a good job? And as we've changed, all of a sudden, and Rob talked about, as incomes rise, or as bills rise and incomes don't, things start to go, well, how are we actually going to solve for this problem? So people are like, well, I got to do something on the side, or I got to do this. The world, the mindset has shifted. Now people are coming to the realization of, if I keep doing what I've been doing, it won't get better. How many of you remember when lunch was $7 a day? You guys remember when lunch was $7? Derek, you and I remember when lunch was $5, right? And I remember when I got started in the business in 1996, lunch was $5 a day. I could walk in, I could buy a double check, I'd go to any fast food restaurant, and for $5 I could get a meal and a drink. Now it's what, 11 bucks?
Yeah.
I got a question. Do you think it's going to get to 20?
Yeah.
Do you think it's ever going to get to 20? Ever? Do you think it's ever going to get to 20? Well, of course you hope not. Do you think it's gonna? Of course it is. Now I got a question. I've been here since 1996 when I got started. I sit down with someone and say, man, we need to save and invest for your future. How much can you set aside? And people tell me I can't set aside anything. And that's when lunch was $5 a day. They're making the same money, if not less now, 20 years later, but lunch is $11. Where did the $6 come from? See, when we think about what this is, when we think about the impact, we've got to start realizing that the world is changing, but it's our mind. Have we put ourselves in a position to do something? And that's what we said is, man, we got a legitimate shot to make a difference. There's something phenomenal that's occurring right now. There's something called the California Secure Choice. There's a law that's going into place. Check this out. California legislation passed a bill that in the future, companies in California with more than 5 employees must provide access to a retirement plan, or the employees have to automatically be opted in to a state-sponsored plan. Well, Brett, why is that a big deal? Because over the next 5 years, 7.5 million Californians will be automatically enrolled. 7.5 million employees in California will be automatically enrolled into a state-sponsored program. Do you think they'll understand how it works? Do you think they'll get maxed out? Do you think the owners know how to do it? Do you think they have any understanding how any of that's going to work? I have a question. If you build a business that could target servicing 7.5 million Californians that by law have to do something, and you are halfway good at it, do you think you could be profitable?
Absolutely.
So now you get to bring these things together. We talk about that's a big old thing. That's a little bitty boat. See, guys, the typhoon's coming, this hurricane's coming, this unbelievable thing is coming. Can we see? Well, why is that important? Because we started talking about what are the elements of a perfect storm. If you dreamt up a business, if you thought about something, what were the best things? Well, we think about what's the power of the rise of the gig economy. Now, all of a sudden, there's access to a significant number of people that have the capacity to do great things and the realization that they need to do something. So now it's like, man, we got amazing people that know they need to do something. They just don't know what that something is. That's an interesting thing. There's an enormous problem with 7.5 million. That's just Californians. 70 million families don't have access to the education tools. And unless it shows up and is confronted in our life, we won't make the change. And so someone can find a way to facilitate that, we can reach them. So now we have a legitimate problem to solve. So now I got a question. If you take an incredibly motivated large group of people and a really big problem and you happen to put them together, you have a shot to change something. If you're like, why am I here? Why is the person that brought me here tonight? Whether you're as an advocate here, you're here keeping your options open or whatever it is, this is about realizing we are not playing in a sandbox right now. In 1977, Primerica was founded to take on the life insurance industry. And over the last 30 or 40 years, we've done it. We've essentially, there were 2,200 life insurance companies that operated in 1977. Now there's less than 700. The life insurance industry, the life insurance guy and gal doesn't exist. It's not in the vernacular. People don't think about it. That's good news and bad news. More people are less protected today than they were when we started. That's a fact. Now, the ones who we charge are protected better. But that crusade, that thing has been taken care of. But now all of a sudden, there's a whole nother one that says if you die, man, we got to make sure you're protected. That's an enormous crusade. But what if you live? Robert said the average person retires goes from 26 to 29 years. How many food's a relatively important role in your life? So think about the fact that there's a huge group of people that need something to do to change, to make their life a little bit easier. There's a huge need and a legitimate opportunity that says, oh my God, if we could deliver this message to the people who needed to hear it, and we could create it to where it wasn't complicated. Now, for Rule 72, there was a lot of like numbers on there, right? And so it might seem complicated when you first see it, but if you saw that like 15 times, would it be as complicated? No, because see, 72 divided by 6 is 12 every time you do it. Never changes. 72 divided by 12 is 6 every single time. So you might have to get a piece of paper out the first couple times and do the math. You're like 76 divided by 9 or 72 divided by 8 is 9. You might not know that. You might need fingers and toes and calculators the first couple times you do it, but after you've done it a handful of times, you no longer need fingers and toes or calculators. Because 72 divided by 8 is 9, and 72 divided by 9 is, look at this, we're done. And this is important. I'm not minimizing this, but the reality is, guys, most of us have 7 or 8 questions. There aren't 3,000 questions, there's 7 or 8. And so we said, man, if we could put a way together from normal where we could teach you the 7 or 8 conversations, you could reach the people you already love to reach, but you could provide access to the 7 or 8 conversations that no one else is doing, man, you get to change your life and theirs. So we said, man, we got an opportunity for a perfect storm that says, what if we could take amazing people that have come to the realization in life that if they don't do something, something won't happen for them. And a true problem that no one cares about. And put these things together. If the opportunity was real. So we said, why don't we do that? So, all right, Robert went through this at the very beginning. We said, man, one of the things we got to realize, and my job on this is I'm going to talk about the primary opportunity. I'm going to talk about what we put together and why. Now, I am a professional recruiter. My job for you to walk out of tonight is for you to say a very specific sentence. Who do I know that needs to be a part of this? That's my job. So we'll see how good I am. If I suck, you'll be like, why did he ask that question? But you start realizing the opportunity and the impact. Now, the answer could be you, and I'm okay with that myself. And it might be who do we know that needs to hear this information. But we said, man, one of the first things we had to do was we needed to realize that everybody's different. With different goals, different objectives, different priorities. And so the reason that we created different positions, whether it's our gap, right? You saw a picture of Patty, she's not here. I'll say, hi, Patty, saw a picture of her earlier, now she's here. Right? The ability to do, right? Someone who's part-time that goes in right away. Regardless of where the path is, it's not about moving someone from one to the other. It's about being able to realize that what's important to you gets to be important to you. But it also allowed us to sit down and say, okay, if we're going to do that, how do we pull it off? How do we reach the people we want to reach? How do we create a significant level of skill and not overwhelm the scarcity? And so we said, look, one of the things we got to do is we got to get licensed. Now, we are in a federally regulated license. There's nothing we can do about this, but except really put together a good system to be able to get it done. Now, I don't know, hopefully you can make it if you heard about the other one. But we have 2 people taking their test right now. Mondo passed, so when you guys see Mondo, he passed his test, and hopefully his wife has taken it at the same time. Hopefully she passes. That would be really not fun if that didn't happen. But when you see them, they both pass the test. That's a big doggone deal. It's a hand. Well, you guys are excited. Yeah. Right? The utility celebrate, but here's what happened. You know what happened? They showed up, they spent a couple hours in sushi, like, hey, learn this stuff, run some tests, and because our number one job is to get somebody through the certification. We have an answer that says, we have a sentence that says, if you want to get licensed, we will get you licensed. That is our number 1, number 2, and number 3 priority. There is nothing beyond that because we can't pay you for something you're not licensed for. So we will put every resource we can to get you licensed. Guys, that allows us to prioritize you. Then you have an opportunity to grow. So we looked at this and said, what do you want to learn? Well, I want to learn about money. Great. I want to learn how to run a business. Great. I want to learn how to be an entrepreneur. Great. I want to learn how to get organized. Great. I want to learn how to communicate. Great. I want to learn how to talk in front of people. Great. I want to learn how to be empathetic and help people. Great. I want to learn. The reality is there's no right answer. This is an opportunity for people to come in and say, I want to expand my skill set because I know that I'm going to be stronger and stronger and stronger in the future. And so our number 1 job was we put together programs and modules to say, man, we're going to give every resource we possibly can. Because the stronger you feel about reaching other people, the more impact you can have. And then it comes down to every business in America is, how do you grow? Well, unfortunately or fortunately, in businesses like ours, traditionally, and I'm talking about it, normally we recruit a bunch of people and then we go see their best friends. Whether you like it or not, we go do that, and then if you make money, great. If you don't, great. And then if you're really motivated, that's fantastic. If you're not, well, we already saw you. I'm not necessarily proud of it, but it is the business model. And there's no one in my life more important that I want to help than the people I love the most. The people I love the most don't have plans for retirement, don't know how to protect their family, don't know how to put their kids to college. And so the people I want to impact the most are the people I love. Is that all fair? Aren't you guys the same way? The dilemma is that how much credibility do I have in the beginning to the people I want to help the most? Not a whole lot. So now we have conflict. And so we said, wait a second. What if we could leverage the financial wellness program? Well, all of a sudden, someone said, man, if we get you licensed and you learn these 7 conversations and you get good at this stuff, if we go in and we sit with a company and we say, hey, here's 2 relationships that you can cultivate and develop, could that increase your skill? Could you make an impact in their lives? Could you make a little bit of profit? But as you increase your skills and you made a difference, would you start learning a little bit more? Now, all of a sudden, if you start talking to your best friend and you knew a little bit more, could you be a little bit more influential? Could you make a bigger impact? Is we said, man, we really want to reach the people in our lives, but let's create the single best way to do it, which means let's let you practice on our market, not yours. Let's create an environment where we know we're going to keep going back because repetition is the mother of learning, the opportunity to reach the people, because if it doesn't show up in front of us, we don't do anything about it. Oops. So, right, as an example, here's how's all this work, right? So you can meet some of our clients, right, in terms of this. There's a company called Hop Skip Drive that we work with, right? We got a wellness program coming up on Tuesday, right? They got 35 employees. Their customer service, they already have a 401k. We're not their retirement provider. But what we have the opportunity to do is to go in and do some of the slides that Sue talked about, to create that environment, put the game plan together, the group, the individual, and the ongoing, so that they don't have to take on the world alone. The 401k provider said, oh, we'll come in and we'll do all this stuff, and they didn't show up. The reason is there's no money in it. They don't have the infrastructure and they don't have the time frame. But we said, we called some of our folks and said, hey, you're licensed. You want to show up on a Tuesday and eat some Thai food? And they're like, sure. And they're like, okay, so we're going to say, oh, here's 4 relationships, here's 6 relationships, here's 2 relationships, here's 6 relationships that they get to cultivate. Why? Because then the employees of the company have someone to talk to. The someone to talk to has an opportunity to increase their skills and make a difference. So the company's better off, they get to be heroes, we get to increase our skill, we get to create our environment, and we get to reach the people that need to be reached. Simply because we said, here's what we're going to do. We've got a company called Intercoast. They've got 7 different schools. Right? We got the 401k, got $500,000 in our 401k. We do one-on-one coaching. We sit up, we show down, we said, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this together. They happen to be a school. And so we're putting together a program that not only works with the teachers of the school, but now 3 days before graduation, and these are like career college folks that are learning how to be nurses and learn how to be electricians, stuff like that. We're going in 3 to 4 days before their last class, and we're going to start doing a wellness seminar for these brand new people that used to make minimum wage that are all going to start making $18, $20 an hour. Do you think they have any idea how to go from $12 to $22 an hour, what to do with that money? No, so we get to go in and we get to make that impact in their lives, and the school gets to be a hero because they get to provide it as a benefit. All right, question, if we called you and said, hey, show up on a Tuesday, we're going to run a class for a book, would you show up? If we could show you how to make an extra $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 a year part-time, would that make a difference within your schedule? See, it allows us to make the impact and the reach. And then there's a company called Jive that a handful of months ago just got sold for like $400 million. Ooh, that's a lot of cash. Yes. And I spent the last couple of days in Portland in a room that a little kid from Iowa that's built a business in prime America ain't ever been in before. I walk in and they're like a software company. They're IT like ridiculous, right? Long conference table, like you pictured, all the CEO, CFO back. And little me sat in, and you know what we talk about? We talk about wellness, we talk about strategies, we talk about ideas, we talk about being entrepreneurs, we talk about all the stuff. I was absolutely prepared to be in that room based on the stuff we learned. And the impact we're gonna have. And I asked them, what's your wellness strategy? Well, we have the 401k. Tell me. Well, here's what happens. We onboard them, and then they get an email link to Fidelity. From that point forward, who do they talk to? Why are they talking to anyone? Our folks are incredibly sophisticated. I looked at them and said, I want to let you know something. What's that? I have a whole bunch of people that are in the process of getting licensed right now that probably couldn't build their own portfolio. What do you mean? When it's yours, it's sort of hard sometimes. And it was an unbelievable opportunity for them to realize, wait, there's more than just clicking the buttons. For us to be able to sit down and say, here's what we're going to do over the next 6 months to a year. We're going to put together a wellness strategy. We're going to walk in and we're going to provide access and resource to your folks and care that their kids' college. I'm sitting with the HR director and the head of finance, right? And she's got 2 little kids, and she worked in an investment bank for a long time and looked at me and stuff like that. She's got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. Very sweet. We're talking about crowdsource funding that comes to college. One of the game funds we've got, some of the cool stuff we'll talk about. And all of a sudden she looked at me, she's like, you know, my husband and I have been talking about doing that 529 plan. We really need to do it. I go, isn't it amazing? It doesn't happen unless it shows up. She's like, yeah, huh? Like, we should probably talk about that. Yeah. HR director, in charge of everybody, worked in finance, has a 6-year-old and 3-year-old that has lost 6 years and 3 years when it comes to funding their daughters to both their daughters' colleges. Not because they don't love their family, not because they're not smart, not because they don't work hard, but because no one showed up and said, I'll help you with that. Bro, what's this Primerica opportunity about? What are you guys really about? We're about the opportunity to get a bunch of people that are licensed and trained the ability to go, let me teach you something I learned. Because 72 divided by 9 is 8 every single time. So I was asking people, so who's right for this Primerica AAA'zortunity? We got to practice that, right? But the reality is, there are folks in this business, there are folks in this room that say, man, they need to make ends meet. Like, man, if I need to make an extra $500 a month, because sometimes I have a few more days in the month than I have money. And have you ever had that experience before? Or you're looking at the calendar and go, oh, God. How many of you get mad at February? Because it only has 28 days, so those extra 2 days you need too. Right? Some people make enough money to take care of their family's needs, but they need a little bit more to make their wants taken care of. I have friends who love Disneyland. That's a serious endeavor. So where do those funds come from? What are you negotiating? What if you didn't have to? There are folks that have a nice life, but their ability to save for the future is in jeopardy. Yeah, I make enough money, we go on vacations, we do this. Great, but are you going to be able to retire? No. Why? Because that takes an extra $10,000 a year. There are some that dream about being business owners and being able to control their future. There are some folks that are just not good employees. I happen to be one of them. If you tell me where to go and what to do, I will tell you where to go and creatively how I think you should do it. This is not a good skill. And then there are some entrepreneurs that at their heart say, man, I want to create something for freedom in their family, for themselves and their family. See, the reality, guys, is you might know somebody that ticks one of these boxes. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's your next door neighbor. What if we could solve that? Does that start to get a little real? See, the reality is there's 7.5 million Americans that are going to be automatically enrolled in a state-sponsored program that is not going to do what they need to for their families. And all those businesses are going to be out of compliance because no one's talking. We can solve that problem. The gig economy is not going away because gas prices are going up, car prices are going up, house prices are going up, food prices are going up, and incomes aren't going up. And so the need to do something else is real. And so when you put these two things together, if we can legitimately solve it, good things are possible. See, when we talk about the different steps, when we talk about all the different places, when we talk about the different roles, our number one goal is to reach people. Is to just make a small impact. If nothing else, 72 divided by 2 is 36. That's a weird one. Why did you tell me that one? Because right now, there are no savings accounts that get over 2%. They don't exist. So if you go take $10,000 in the bank right now and they give you 2%, come back 36 years from now, that 10,000 is 20. In fact, most of them are less than 1. 72 divided by 1 is 72, which means how old are you?
I am.
You are 18 years old, which means at 90. If you go down to Chase Bank right now and you give them $10,000, you show up on your 90th birthday, it'll be 20 grand. That is our impact. See, what we need is people on our team. We need allies, because attaboys feel pretty good. We need advocates, because having somebody look someone else in the eye and go, I know the person you need to talk to, allows us to reach them. And we need associates, whichever box triggers, because there is an amazing opportunity. There's a perfect storm where we can reach the people, we can deliver the message, and we can make an impact, and no one else is going to play it. So tonight really was about the opportunity for you to understand that there's something special happening, and we want you a part of it. You get to decide whatever that part is, but hopefully we make that impact. If someone pops in your head, someone who could make an impact and will take advantage of this, please let the person know that brought you. If that person happens to be you, you can let them know that too. If you happen to know a small business owner that understands in the next 24 to 36 months, they're going to get a little letter that says you have to now require these for your employees because California Secure is now going to start creating. Let us get in front of them first. Let us make an impact first. Let us reach them first. Together, we can actually make a difference. We don't have to just resign ourselves to, well, this is how it is. We don't have to shut off our brain when things get complicated. If we can actually talk to somebody and go, oh, this isn't that complicated. 72 divided by 12 is 6 every single time. That's what tonight's about. So guys, thank you so much for coming and welcome aboard. Have a great night. Thanks. Sorry, I got one more slide. We'll be back here on September 13th.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and we have refreshments.
Come and hang out.